Oh, people are watching. Hello. Right, bear with me. I am just sharing the video in a couple of places, so just bear with me while I do that. Okay, so that's one, and then I've just got to go somewhere else. In there. Okay, right. Let's get back. Okay. Let me just, oh, I think I can actually see the comments on my laptop, which is really handy because that's really big. So, hello Linda, hello Laura, hello Sandra. Good to see you. Hopefully you can all see me and hear me okay. Do shout if you can't at any point. I came on 5 minutes early because oh, am I very quiet, Sandra? Hold on, let me move my mic up. Let's see if that makes a difference. Is that any better? So hi Maxine, hi Sarah, good to see you guys. Yeah, I came on a little bit earlier because I had to share the video in a couple of places, and I wasn't sure how easy that would be for my very non-technical brain. But I've done it now. So I think I'm okay. I'm just making sure I can see everything happening, which I think I can. Oh good, you can hear me fine, Maxine. Brilliant. Hello Helen, good to see you. Okay, so this is the project that I'm going to be doing today. I did set the video up. It was supposed to have a little message along the bottom. I can't see it on my screen, so you probably can't either. But I'll post a link at the end. If you want a kit for this, it is available on our website. It has been for 2 or 3 weeks. So if you decide that you like the project and you want to buy the kit, then I'll post, I might actually better post it in the comments now, actually, if you bear with me. Of course, with the laptop I can do more things than trying to look at the phone, which makes things a lot easier. So let me just copy that link, copy, and then we'll go back to there. So morning Kim, morning Lynn, morning Annie. And what I'll do is I'll just post the link in the comments. That's it. So that is the link to the kit if you should want to purchase one after the workshop. That's it. Okay, right, so it's 11 o'clock. We have a few people in. Oh, you're having trouble hearing me, Alison. Okay. I know somebody else could hear me fine, so I'm not really sure what else I can do. I will speak as loud as possible, Alison. Can you hear me a bit better now if I'm speaking a bit louder? Is that okay? Oh, it's good there with you, Annie. Good. Okay, so, oh, good. Okay, Alison, I will try and shout. It's not a thing that I tend to do. Well, unless I'm talking to Tony, then I might. But yeah, I'll try my best. Okay, so for those of you that have bought the kit, you would have found a supplies list which I won't go through it all on here because it's quite extensive, but on that link that I've posted up to the kit, there is a little tab there which has got the supplies list there, so you can see what you need. All you actually get in the kit is the Greyboard elements. So we're going to get started because we're a minute past 11, 2 minutes past 11, so we'll get cracking. So if you are playing along, I'll obviously go to a reasonable speed. So if I'm going too fast, just shout and I'll slow up. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just glue the box together. We don't need to put any paint on or anything like that, but I just want to get this box glued together. So I'll do that first, and then, which shouldn't take too long actually. It's the drying time, which is obviously a little bit lengthier. Now, if you're obviously just watching now, you can, if you decide to buy the kit, you can of course just fast forward this bit when you come to do it, rather than watch me gluing everything. Hope everybody's okay. Hope the weather's good where you are. We're expecting some rain at some point today. Right, so anybody that isn't aware of our kits, a decent PVA glue is what you need to glue together these kits. I use a Sea Whites one. In fact, I've got a big bottle here, so that's the one I use. It's like a wood adhesive, so it is particularly strong. So, but any decent PVA is fine. Okay, so we shall. I think I'll put this bit on next. Really doesn't matter how you glue these together. They can only go one way, so it doesn't matter whether you put your long ends on first or your short ends or whatever you want to do. So I shall pop that on there. We may get a visitor halfway through. Depends if Moo Moo decides to come up, which she might do. Bless her. Because Tony's not in today, so she's downstairs on her own. Just get rid of that bit of glue there. Like that. Back. Right. So now I'm going to... I did have a bit of a panic earlier on when I was setting up, because I've got a power lead that goes on my iPad, and the original power lead isn't great on it. I need to replace it really. So I had another one, and when I took the cover off of the iPad, it snapped the end, so it wouldn't go back in the iPad. So I was frantically hunting around for my other power supply, but I found it, which was very handy. Right, so we're just going to pop that in there like that. Oh, it's all falling apart. That's really good. It's best to let each piece dry a little bit first. Let's put that in there like that. Once it's all together, it's actually quite solid. Put that in there like that. Right, I'll try and hold this together while I put this end in like that. That's it, that's better. Right, and then I'll do that end. Oh, hello Fiona, good to see you. Good to chat to you yesterday. Right. Yeah, so fortunately I found my charger, my old one. So, but I do need to get a new one really. but it means a visit all the way into Norwich to go to the apple shop. Okay, right, so that's that done. Now once that's, as I say, once that's all glued, that is actually quite solid. Oh, the art boxes are great, aren't they, Fiona? I must admit, they really are. And some of the stuff that the girls on the team have done, absolutely incredible. They really are. So if any of you watched the Create and Craft show that we did a week last Friday, you'd have seen some of the samples. They were just stunning. Okay, so what we're going to do with this is we're just going to splosh some paint on it. Okay. Also in the kit you've got this other panel which is going to fit over the top of that, so we don't need to paint all the sides because we're going to be covering one side up. You've also got these other little bits. You've got these two circles, you've got this little rectangle thing, and you've got 3 hearts. Basically we're going to glue these all together, but we're going to run one of them through an embossing folder. If you haven't got an embossing folder, you can just use some paste through a stencil over the top. That's absolutely fine. Okay, right, so what we're going to do is we're going to concentrate on getting some paint on these bits. So first of all, we're going to put some brown paint on to this one. Now I realised this morning that I was getting a little bit short of brown paint, so hopefully I will stretch it out. Now you can either use a brush or a sponge. Now a sponge is quite nice, you get quite a nice sort of texture to it. Because I'm a little bit short of paint, I'm going to use a brush because it will tend to stretch it that little bit further, I think. So put some more. I really do need to get some more of some colours. What's it? Okay. That's that. And we shall put that on there. As I say, you don't need to do one of the flat sides, the large flat sides. I'm just spreading paint over everything here. I have so little time to craft that when I do, I get in a real mess. You should have seen the state of my desk this morning. Absolute carnage. Yes, Kim, they are available to buy separately. I actually only uploaded them. Oh, hold on a minute. I say that. I uploaded them yesterday, but only as a bundle of 4. I will put them up as individual items. I've had a bit of a busy week, but I will put them up as individual items as well. And then you can just buy the size that you prefer. But yesterday I did put them up as a bundle. Yeah, I didn't realise I hadn't uploaded them. Oh, so many things. There's always so much prep that goes into a TV show that you kind of forget other things going on around you. Okay, so I don't want perfection with this. We're just putting a rough coat on. Like that. I'll just give that a quick blast. And I shall add a little bit of paint in a couple of areas that are a little bit patchy. That's better. Not too worried about the back. That's it. Right, so that will do. I'm going to let that dry off. Okay. Give your brush a wipe and just have a bit of a clean up. It might be under Art Block, Kim. Try Art Block. Either that, or if you go to latest products. In fact, I might be able to put a link up for you. Bear with me. Latest products. Let's go in there and then we'll copy that link. Copy and then back to there, and we shall put that in there. Like that. There you go. Oh, hi Bernadette. Oh, Fiona's done a link as well. Bless your heart, Fiona. Thank you. Right, so yes, I think I called them art blocks on the website. Right, so we've done that one. We'll just put that to one side. Now this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over with a blue paint first of all. I'll go on a side that's not too messy. Now I'm using blue chiffon, but any pale blue acrylic is fine. Oh, good of you to drop in, Bernadette. Have a lovely day with your friend. Sunday's always good to meet up with people, that's what I say. Lunch in the pub, lovely. Not for me today though. Oh, hi Diane, hi Jan. Right, so we're just going to go over this with this pale blue. It might need a couple of coats. Let's see how it goes. When you're painting directly onto the grey board, you can pre-gesso first. Absolutely you can. Or you can go over with a white or cream chalk paint or whatever you want to do. It's perfectly okay to paint acrylic paint straight onto the grey board. If it's a decent quality, you'll find that one coat will probably be enough. So this is the Deco Art Americana range. That's going on perfectly okay actually. I'm quite happy with just one coat on there. If it's a slightly cheaper acrylic, you may need to do a couple of coats or 3 coats like that. Now I'm not going to bother to do the sides. We're going to be carving into the sides and we'll be painting the edges brown anyway, so don't worry about that. Okay. Right, so I'll just wash my brush and I'll just have a clean my fingers up because I'm covered in brown paint now. I'm so messy. Get myself another white. That's it. Right. Yes, it is a lovely blue. Fiona, I love that sort of kind of really pale blue. It's really nice. Right, so where are we? Bernadette, you're making lunch. How lovely. Yeah, I'm going to be making myself lunch today as well. Just me. Well, me and Moo Moo, because Tony's gone out. Right, What I'm going to do with this one, now this is dried off a little bit more, I'm a bit picky, so I am going to put just, oh, I've lost it. I've put my brown paint down somewhere. What have I done with that? Ah, there it is. I'm just going to put a little bit more brown paint on there because it is a little bit too patchy for my liking. So bear with me. This will give you a chance to catch up if you're playing along. Oh, pub lunch, Jan, lovely. Training walk, yes. We know all about training walks, don't we, Jan? For those of you that that don't know, I had a bit of a brainstorm a few months back and decided to sign up for a Macmillan Mighty Hike, which is 26 miles of walking in a day, and we're going to do the Norfolk coast, and there's 4 of us doing it. Jan is going to be with us as well. She's one of the 4. I think we might be walking it in green tutus. But I think the other 3 girls are cursing me quite a bit now because we've been obviously doing some training, and 26 miles is a long way. We've not quite done the whole 26 miles in one go. We probably won't before the day, but we are doing 13 miles in a couple of weeks, the 4 of us, and then hopefully one other bit longer one in April, and then we'll be ready in May to do the big one. And it's all for Macmillan, which is a wonderful cause, of course. But yes, I'm not quite sure what made me possess me to sign up for something like that. Yeah, about 8.5 hours of walking. Yes, it is, Jan. You're quite right. Thank you for reminding me about that. Yeah, Fiona, we decided to get green tutus. We've all got the same ones, and we've got our Macmillan t-shirts, so it should be pretty good. I am kind of looking forward to it. Kind of. We are mad as hatters, Jan. There's no doubt about it. We really are. But hey, let's just hope the weather's good. I dread to think what it'd be like if it's raining. Right. Okay, so now I've done this. I've put plenty of paint on this piece now. I'm going to go over it with some gloss varnish. Okay. So I shall pop that on there like that. You only need 1 coat of this. Okay. And we shall put this aside to dry. Oh, Kim, you did Clarendon Way from Salisbury to Winchester, which is 26 miles. Couldn't do it. Oh, well done you. Yeah, I must admit, I'm saying I'm not going to be able to do it as well, but we will. We're determined. The 4 of us are absolutely determined to do it. So we've got each other. We'll manage it, I'm sure. Right, I'm going to put that to one side. Okay. Seal that up. And we'll go back to this piece. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on here. I'm going to give it a blast. I'm going to get, I've got a feeling I probably didn't write the ink pad on the supply list, so you will need a black ink for this one. And also a Scripty stamp, which I know I did put on the list. Just trying to find it. There it is. Oh, bless you, Jan. Okay. First over the line, yeah, okay, right. I'm just reading Bernadette's message. Are you doing that to protect the surface of a bit of both, Bernadette, actually. A bit of both. I want a gloss finish, because if you look at the original, I just like the fact that that bit's glossy, to be honest. But also it does actually make the finished thing really tough. Okay. So it doesn't have to be gloss. If you don't want gloss, you can use matte if you want to. If you prefer a matte finish, that's absolutely fine. Right. So I've got my Scripty stamp. Now what I do tend to do with this stamp is get it the wrong way round. It doesn't matter actually, because I can turn the board round, but I'm just going to check. Right, that goes that way. Now what I am going to do, because I've put oh no, I don't need to do that. No, that's fine. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to be a little bit random with a bit of stamping on here. Don't have to be perfect with this. Like that. So right, I'm going to dry that off. Like that, and then that's fine. Yeah, that's dry. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get my wax, and I'm going to rub some wax around. Oh, see, now that's why it's got to be dry. Don't worry, because if you have an accident like that, you can just paint over it. Like that. Oops. It's not going to matter because it's quite a grungy finish and you don't see a lot of the text. So really don't worry about that. I should have dried it for a little bit longer. Let me do that again. Right, hopefully this will be dry enough now. Let's try again. So with your wax, you want to put, just randomly rub some wax. It's still spreading it. It's taking ages to dry that ink. It's not going to matter. Just spread some wax randomly around your text. Like that. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we are going to put some white paint over the top, but I'm inclined to actually leave this for a minute to let that ink dry right out, because it obviously doesn't want to dry right out. So I'll leave that to one side and we can go on to another bit and then come back to that and paint over it. So am I missing any questions or anything? Right, okay, blot it with a tissue. I should have done, Jan, really, shouldn't I? I thought that just that drying it off would have done it. Right, so we've got our hearts and our circles. What we're going to do is on one of the hearts, we're going to put it through an embossing folder. Now, if I do it on the table, it's going to go a little bit wibbly wobbly when I put it through, so it'll shake the camera. I will do it as carefully as I can so it doesn't shake the camera too much. Now I'm using a Scripty embossing folder, which I'm just going to place my heart in there like that. Pop that in. Right, so my apologies if the camera shakes. I would do this as carefully as I can. That's it. Let's take that out. Oh, like that. And I shall get this out of the way. Like that. Okay, and you'll be able to see, get rid of that. You'll be able to see the embossing on here. I'll hold it up to the camera and you can see how that's embossed. Okay, so it's just another way that you can add texture and dimension to your projects. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to glue these hearts together. So just your normal PVA again. Yeah, I must admit I love embossing greyboard. It's one of the things about greyboard that I really love, because obviously you can't emboss MDF the same way. I love MDF. I love it. It's got its own unique properties which are great. It's very strong. But there's something about greyboard. I think it takes the paint better. You've got these options of your embossing and also your distressing the edges, as we've done on here, which I'm going to show you how to do, which is you just simply can't do that with MDF. And when you're doing a small project like this, you don't actually have to have MDF at all, because they're quite tough. Once it's all put together, it's pretty tough. You haven't done it yet, Bernadette? Yeah, definitely try. You might need to experiment a little bit with your mats that you use on your machine, your embossing machine, depending on which one you've got and what have you. But you don't want it so you're really having to force it through. It should go through reasonably easy. Right, and now I'm going to put the embossed one on the top there, like that, and we'll just let that all glue for a second. It is a lot smoother than MDF, Fiona, definitely. There's no doubt about it, and I really do think you do get a better finish. You know, I've painted a lot of MDF stuff, and I've always preferred the finish on greyboard. But of course, you know, as I say, MDF is lovely and tough. So it's got its qualities without a doubt. Okay, so that's that. Right. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to, just while that sets, I'm going to just splosh a bit of cream paint onto the circles. Okay. Oh, okay, Bernadette, have a lovely day. Enjoy your lunch. Right, I'm using warm white. Again, I was getting a bit short of this, but I've got my bottle upside down, so it should flow out fairly easily. And I'm going to just paint this on here. I probably will possibly need a couple of coats because it's a paler colour. Rid of that lumpy bit. Like that. And that one. Oh, okay, Jan. Enjoy your walk. I'll chat to you soon. Okay. So that's that one. Done like that. And in fact, looking at it, I'm fairly happy with the finish on those. Let me just give them a blast. Yeah, they're not too bad actually. Right, so that's those. Now I'm hoping that this ink has dried. Do you know, I'm not sure that it has, you know. We're going to give it a go. If it's a disaster, I'll just do it, turn it over and do it on the other side. So obviously this is the piece that we've put our wax on. Oh, my little girl's coming up the stairs. So I'm going to get the warm white again. I haven't got a great deal of it actually. Hello, sweetheart. And this time I'm going to go over all of this, but with a sponge. Hello. You're a bit early for your lunch. Okay, let's try and get a bit more out. Definitely a bit short. I'll have to go to a backup plan. So I had that ready. So I've got some brighter white, which I'll get out. And I will just add a little touch of that one, like that, which is a light mocha. There's never anything wrong with mixing your paints. That's it. So I'm going to tap that on there, and we're going to go all the way over everything. Like that. Now I have a feeling that because this has spread my ink a little bit underneath, there may not be an awful lot of the text showing through, but let's see. Let's just see. You'll get the gist. Right, so that's that. And she's gone again. Right, I'm going to leave that to one side like that. We can go back to this one now, and what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to paint it in red. So this is True Red, and I'm going to put that on there. Get a brush, or actually you can use a sponge, nothing wrong with that at all. I do quite like using a sponge. then I will just put a little bit round the edges. Clean brush. Like that. Okay. So are you all having a nice peaceful Sunday today? I will be once I've done this. I'm going to do some cooking this afternoon. I'm not a great cook by any means, but I do like to have a go. And we kind of upgraded our kitchen a little bit, and I was very, very lucky because we bought one of those range cookers. Never had a range cooker in my life, and yes, we've got a range cooker, so I like experimenting with it. My previous cooker was so old you couldn't set the temperature, so everything was cooked at the same temperature. Not sure how safe that was food wise. But I'm still here to tell the tale. I cook a mean curry. Thank you, Fiona. I do try. I was actually really chuffed with myself because with the new oven, it's got a proving setting, so you can make bread and put it in the oven to prove. And I actually made my first ever, oh, I hasten to add, successful loaf of bread that was actually edible. And I've tried to make bread many times over the years, and every time it's always been a disaster. Right, I'm going to dry this off. Right, we shall now go to, I'll tell you what we'll do, I'm going to leave that so that dries right off a bit more. We go back to our circles. Now, this, you'll recognise this stamp, Fiona. This is one of Fiona's fabulous stamps that she brought out last year, that you can get through Chocolate Baroque. And that one of them has got this circle, which actually is very close to the size of the circles in the kit. So I thought, I've just got to use that. It's brilliant. So because I'm going to put some powder on, because I'm going to stamp with Versamark, and then I'm going to use this aged aqua. But because I've painted it, what I'm going to do first is I am just going to pop just a tiny bit of talcum powder over. Otherwise, what happens is the embossing enamel or powder, or whatever you're using, has a habit of sticking to the paint because it's not 100% dry. So this is supposed to stop that from happening. So let's see. So I'm going to ink up the stamp like that, and then it's best to do this so you're taking the grey board to the stamp, because then you can position it exactly where you want it to go. Right there, give that a good squish. Like that. And then I want just a piece of card that's cut in half. And then move it out the way. I'm going to pop a bit of this Aged Aqua over there. Tap that off and you can see the pattern on there now, like that. So I shall just empty that back in there, and I'm going to do the same again with this one. Pop that on there like that. Just give it a good squish. Get that out of the way, and then like that. So then I'm going to obviously heat set those. So let's get that out of the way, because I have this really bad habit of knocking things with my elbows and everything else. I'm going to just pop it on something. What have I got here? I've got another block over here. I'll pop it on there. It's because it's on plastic. When I heat the plastic, it sometimes bubbles up a bit. Okay. Right, move it out of the way. So normally when you use a fine stamp, as this is a very fine stamp, you've got very fine lines, your best bet is to use a very detailed embossing powder, and that way you don't get these sort of chunky bits on there. But I purposely wanted it to look a little bit grungy, so that's why I've opted for the aged enamels. But obviously you're not going to get all your little lines as crisp as you would if you were doing it with the detailed embossing powder. It just depends what finish you want, really, to be honest. Okay, now I think this is getting there. So what we can do now is we can get ourselves a damp cloth or a baby wipe, and you can start to just gently wipe back over the surface, and you'll find that where you've put the wax, the paint will lift off really easily, and it just gives you this distressed look to it. And you can wipe back, you know, go back right back to the blue, or just take a little bit off. And that's just a really nice way of adding a bit of distressing to your projects. Like that. Okay, we are going to obviously put some brown on there yet, and distress the edges, but that's fine. I think I've probably used the wrong ink, I think, to stamp the script. I probably need something that was going to dry much better. But yeah, anyway, if you know stamping better than I do, then you'll pick the right inks, won't you? So right, you love the effect of it. Yes, you know, it just looks a little bit different, doesn't it? Oh, thanks, Annie. Yeah, it's a nice technique, and it's just literally with wax and between 2 layers of paint. So it's really quite a nice way of distressing your project. Okay, right, I'm going to go back to the heart now, and I'm going to use a product called Antiquing Cream from DecoArt. Basically, Antiquing Cream never actually dries and sets. You can dry it off, but you'll always be able to wipe it back with a damp cloth. And the reason that it's been developed is because it can give you a really nice sort of antiqued finish. So all you do literally is you paint this on to your project, and I'll just get a clean brush. Getting through brushes like wildfire here. You just literally paint this all over. Okay, now if you haven't got Antiquing Cream, you can use black paint that has got an extender in it, or black oil paint. So if you have an extender, which just what it does is it extends the drying time, you can use that with your paint, with normal paint, and paint over. You need to sort of be conscious that you've got to work reasonably quickly, or if you've got black oil paint, which of course the odour might not appeal, but if you've got black oil paint, you can do the same thing with that. So I've painted that over, and then we actually want to, if you like, dry that. Although it will always be able to wipe it back. So I'm going to just give it some heat. Now the idea is to wipe it back with something damp. I tend to find that a baby wipe on its own is a little bit on the wet side. So it's actually better, I think, to get just a piece of kitchen roll or something like that, spray it with some water, and then wipe back, because you haven't got this real harsh, sort of really soggy cloth, which just seems to take everything off. And then we're just going to gradually start working back and taking off some of this Antiquing Cream, but obviously keeping a lot of it there to give you this aged, sort of distressed kind of look, if you like, antiqued look. And you can effectively wipe the whole lot back off again, so you can go back as much as you like. Like that. So I'm pretty happy with that. What I might do is just get a little bit of fresh tissue, spray a little bit more. Yeah, I love Antiquing Cream as well, Fiona. Do you know what? It's one of those products though that you see it demonstrated, you rush out and buy it, you use it a couple of times, and then you think, you know, you don't use it again, and then all of a sudden it like revives itself. And you think, oh yeah, that would be just what I need for that. So it's always a good one to have in your stash, I think. Right, so that's that done. So as you can see, if I can hold that up, you can see you've got bits of the red coming through where you have just wiped it back, and that just gives it a lovely effect. I think. Really good. I'm just watching the camera until it catches up so I can see what you can see. Okay, right. What we need to do with that is I'm just going to you have to be very careful, but I want to put some varnish over the top. I'm going to put a matte varnish over. You can actually get spray varnish, which is probably a little bit better, but I haven't got a matte spray varnish. I'm going to just take a sponge and put some on my worktop, and I'm going to very gently, just because I don't want it to lift any of the antiquing cream. So I'm just going to pop that over the top just to protect that, and we'll let that dry, and then we'll finish off with a bit of the wax, the cream wax or gold wax or whatever. Got hair in there. That's it, that's gone. Right. That's that one. Okay. So, next stage. I think we'll leave the actual distressing bit till the end. We're going to go to this one. This is really, really simple. I've got chunky copper embossing enamel. This is the Stampendos one. Any embossing enamel that you have is absolutely fine. I'm going to give it a good dousing in Versamark. You can see a lovely clean ink pad that I have here. Well used. Okay, get our trusty bit of card again, and then I'm going to get the embossing enamel, and we're just going to coat that all over. Like that. Now I'm going to pop that on that black. I'm going to heat it in a minute. I'll just get rid of this first, because we may well be doing more than one coat of this. So I'll pop that on there, and then heat this. When you're doing anything with embossing powders and enamels, if you have a heat gun that's got a slower speed, or it's got more than one speed, then that's better to use. This one's a little bit ferocious. I have actually got another one which is slower, but it keeps cutting out. So I'm going to give that another coat when that's cooled down a little bit. Yeah, if you've got as I say, if you've got a slower speed one, it doesn't blow the. All this is doing a little bit is blasting all the powder off. Oh, thanks, Faye, for putting all the links up. You're a star. So we're going to put a little bit more Versamark on, and we're going to do another coat of this. You can put as many of these coats on the grey board as you like. It won't break down. It's very tough. I've done lots of things like triple embossing and stuff where you stamp into the embossing powder and that kind of thing with the grey board, and it stood up to it really well. There. Right, so what I'll do is I might hold this further away and hope it won't blow everything around so much. Yeah, you're right actually, Fair. It's another good tip. Heat from underneath. Really good idea. I won't do it here only because I'll be all cockeyed under the camera. But yeah, that's a really, really good tip. Okay, now I'm actually quite liking the fact that that is a little bit rough and ready. If you wanted it really smooth, you could do another coat on there, and that would eventually go really lovely and smooth for you. But because of the nature of the project and it being a little bit on the grungy distress side, I'm actually liking that, so I'm going to leave that with just the 2 coats on. So I'll get this out of the way. Right, let's make a bit of room. If you could see beyond my desk, like the area you can see in the camera, you would see carnage everywhere. Get rid of all of that. That's it. Okay. Right. Next product we're going to use. I'm going to use some raw umber, and this is the DecoArt Fluid Acrylics raw umber. The fluid acrylics there's a whole range of them, all different colours. They're not as cheap as your standard acrylics. You'll see that straight away. They're more, for the fact you only get 1 fluid ounce. When you first look, you think, whew, that's expensive. However, they are very, very highly pigmented, and there is no you get a lot of, in paint you get a lot of additives in paint where they add in fillers like chalk, etc., to bulk out the paint, to give you more for your paint. That not only reduces the intensity and the pigment levels, but also if you use paints for doing washes, if you take a normal acrylic paint and do a wash with it and then compare it with these, you will definitely see the chalk content in your regular acrylic. Okay, so if you're really into washes and things like that, these are well worth the investment, and you don't use very much at all. They last for ages, even though they're only 1 fluid ounce. What you don't do with these paints is you don't use them to do your base coats. You don't use them to cover large areas of flat colour, because that is just wasting money. At the end of the day, you're better off buying a cheap acrylic for that, and then using these as a more specialist paint. Okay, right, so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to add a bit of distressing around the edge of these circles. There's various different ways you can do this. What I'm going to do is a kind of watered kind of half and half brush technique. I've done this many times on the TV and stuff, and in live, so you've probably seen me doing it before, but in case you haven't, so you only want a tiny bit. You literally don't want a lot of paint at all, and you want some water. 2 separate lots, so you've got water there, there. Right, flat brush. You need a flat brush. You want to dip half of your brush in the paint, and you want to dip the other half of your brush in the water. Okay, right, so you want the paint to the outside, and you're going to be running your brush around the edge like that. Always reload the same way, so you're always putting your paint on the same side of the brush. Paint to the outside, a bit more, water to the inside, like that. And then if you want to, you can just dab back any areas a little bit that haven't blended in too well, because you might find when you first start you get a bit of a harsh line, but that's kind of the effect. Oh, hi Joan. Like that. So we're going to do this one as well. So half paint, half water, paint to the outside. Like that. I think actually my paintbrush is probably seeped the paint right the way along, so I'm going to give it a clean. That's it. Half paint, half water, and then I'm going to run that round the edge like that. Yeah, definitely my brush needed a good clean, I think. We can just dab that back, that's fine. And that just creates a kind of a distressed sort of darker edge round. Okay, we're going to be cutting into this board with a knife anyway as well. Fiona, you might have to turn away. But we'll come to that in a second. Right, we're also going to do the same again, but on your bigger board. So I'm going to just get a wider brush for this, but a clean one. Getting through the brushes like wildfire here. Hello, sweetheart, you back again? I know what you want. You want your dinner, don't you? Not long, won't be long. Right, whoops, drop that in the water. So, bit more water, we've still got plenty of paint there. So just dip that in your paint on one side of your brush, in the water on the other. And then again, paint to the outside. And we're just going to run this around the edge, backwards and forwards, so it blends it in like that. Oh, don't eat anything, please, girl. You can't have that, you know that. Come on. Excuse me, my dog's just gone into the bin. Right, dead, please. Dead, dead, dead. You know you can't have that. Dead, dead. Sorry about this, folks. I've just got to get a baby wipe out of her mouth. Will you let go, please? Thank you. That's in a tick. That's it, you can't get in there now. Right, apologies for that. I just didn't want to see a baby wipe going right through my dog's stomach. Right, so back to here. Just sit down and be good. Right, so we're going to do half paint, half water, and we're just going to run this backwards and forwards along the edge so that blends in like that. We can always just soften the edge like that before the paint dries. That's good. She's gone back downstairs. I'm not happy with that brush actually. Get another one, softer one. Right, let's try this one. So paint, water, that's a bit better. That's it. Probably want a little bit more paint, but you can see how little paint we've used so far. And then we're going to do that side like that. That's it. I just tap that back a little bit. I'm just going to get rid of that water. I'm going to leave the paint there because I want that. That's it, like that. Oh, the oil and paint demo. Okay, it is actually, I did upload it onto our YouTube, Joan. I will post a link up for you at the end, so you can follow the link. All right, lovey? Yes, I uploaded it to YouTube, so it should be, you should be able to find it on there, but yeah. Right, okay, so that's that for now. So before we start carving into the edge, I'm just going to go back to this. We're going to get our wax or whatever you use. I'm using Treasure Gold. It doesn't matter, you can use the metallic lusters, anything you have. I'm just going to pop some on my finger and very, very lightly I'm just going to run this over the top of this text that I've done on here. Like that. And then I'll just put a little bit round the edge. Okay, so that just gives that a little something as well. Okay, right, so that's that done. You can see how easy all of this is. So we'll go back to these again. Now this is where Fiona needs to turn away because she always worries about me when I use a knife. You do need to be really careful. You've got various different ways you can do this. If you actually soak the edge of the board, you could, if you've got decent nails, you could actually push down into the board and pull it apart. My nails are awful, they're really short. The easiest way I find is very, very carefully just push the edge of a craft knife down into the edge of the board and then pull it up towards you. So what you're doing is you're creating a distressed edge like that. Oh, thanks guys, you put the links up. Brilliant, thank you. And then we're just randomly do that around the edge. Try and not make it look too uniform. You kind of want some areas kind of pulled away more than others. Like that. Then we'll just do a little bit like that. and you can also kind of cut down a little bit, so you're just ripping it apart like that, so it doesn't all look the same. Pokey tool, yep, brilliant idea, Kim, absolutely. If you're using a pokey tool, you might find it easier to spray a little bit of water around the edge first. You may not. Try it without. Like that. So you can see that's ripped and torn up the edges there. Okay. So what we're going to do now with that is we're going to paint round the edge in this brown. You only need a tiny brush, okay? So you've got your eyes closed for it, have you? Oh, bless you. I'm painting now for a minute, lovely. Safe, I've put the knife down. Step away from the knife. I really need to give my glasses a clean. I can't see a thing, bear with me. The trouble is I have like painty fingers, and you take your glasses on and off and you just end up with, oh, that's better. You just end up with fingerprints and all sorts over them, don't you? Get a little bit more paint. You can use your normal brown acrylics for this bit. You really can, because you're using it without watering it down. But I'm a little bit short of brown. I need to do some shopping. So that's that one. Now we're going to do the same again with this one. I've got a pokey tool, but I don't know how. Oh no, that's a bit. No, that's not great actually. I was going to try and do it so you could see, but my one isn't too brilliant, so I won't. Right, okay. So again, we're just pulling apart the layers on the board, just a little bit, very random. Oh, you've poked yourself with the oh dear, I'm just catching up with the comments. You've poked yourself with a pokey tool, Joan. Yeah, I know, it's each to your own. It really is. There's no doubt about it. Whatever you find easiest. Oh, a scalpel reminds you of what I know. I've always used a scalpel though. I've tried using other craft knives, and they're just a bit bulky. I like a scalpel because it's quite small. I guess it's just what you get used to, isn't it? I'm painting again now anyway, Fee. Okay. So that's done the circles, nearly there. That's it. That's those done. And then we're just going to do just a little bit of distressing on the outer, the larger piece. So we're just going to go in again. The corners can be distressed, and then you can kind of make bigger bits on this one and really sort of rip it and make it look a bit more distressed. And you just do as much or as little as you like, really, whatever suits. Oh, you've got a few scalpels. Yeah, I must admit, I've got millions of blades. I haven't got many of the handles. But all different blades, but I still tend to just use the same one. Right, so again, let's get some of this cheaper paint, if I can get any more out of it. Yeah, that's fine. Right, so I'm going to go round the edge of this. With this one, and you want to cover where all your layers are really pulled apart. You want to give those a good coating with your paint. Make sure I'm still in shot. Yep. I know why my girl keeps coming up, because she normally gets fed at 12. And it's 20 past. Bless her. She didn't have a great day yesterday. We had to take her down to a place in Bishop Stortford, and she was put under sedation. She's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with her, but it was just some checks we were doing. And she was very dopey, bless her, when she come out. But of course, you couldn't feed her very much yesterday, so she's got to make up for it today. Oh, they're the operation disposable packs. Oh, so they'll be all the surgical ones, the sterilised ones, won't they? Yeah, mine aren't, I know that. But you save them from, yeah, well, it's, you know, why not, really? If you can make use of them. Okay. Right, so what I'm going to do, oh, I'll just dip that in the paint. I'm going to just put the odd splodge here and there along the edge, and then with a fine spray of water, just spray that. And what that does is that just gives you a couple of extra little dollops here and there of distressing. Like that. let it all drip and run. That's absolutely fine. A little bit there. I'm going to just do you know what I love? I love doing this kind of technique with the bald fee. I really do. I think it's my kind of. I kind of like it in my style, if you know what I mean. It's something that I tend to go back to all the time. Okay. Right, so we're doing quite well now. We're nearly there. Well done if you've managed to keep with me. So I'll just have a bit of a clean up. That's it. Right. What I am going to do is just around these areas that I've done, I'm going to get my vat varnish again. And it's a good idea to put a bit of matte varnish on where you've distressed, because the board has been weakened basically because you've ripped some of the edges from it. If you put a varnish on, it really hardens it up. You'd be surprised how much it hardens it up. So I'm just going to put a little touch of matte varnish where I've ripped the board, and that'll keep it nice and solid. Like that. That's it. This one's still a bit wet. I think what I'll do is I'll give it a bit of a blast. Let's pop that on there. Okay. That's not too bad, and I shall just, where I've got the split bits, I'll just pop a bit of matte varnish in there. You might, if you're doing this afterwards, you might want to just let it dry before you stick it all together. But for the purposes of today, I'm going to just go for it. That's it. Okay, right. So let's just put the lid back on that. We'll go back to our box, which I'll put somewhere. Oh, there it is, over there. Right. So our gloss varnish is dried now. That's fine. So obviously we left one side blank, which is fine. The first thing that we're going to stick down is this. You need to make sure that your text is the right way round. So again, plenty of glue. We'll pop that on there like that. fine. Then the next thing we're going to put on is the circles, which I've offset them like that. I will have it so the pattern is running the same way on both, but obviously it will depend on what stamp you use. So I'll put that on there like that. And this is when your glue decides to block up, which is typical, isn't it? Isn't it just? Right, let's take the lid off there, grab another brush. What's that? It's going to go like, I'll turn it around that way. That's going to go like that on there. We'll do the same with this one. On there like that. Then the next thing to go on is this. We're going to use this. Now you can use silicone glue if you want, if you've got it a little bit raised, so you can use your silicone glue if you want to. I haven't got any to hand. It's actually over in the workshop because I was using it over there the other day. So I'm going to go with what I've got here. I made a sign and I needed to repair it, and I needed the silicone glue and then forgot to bring it back over. It's always the way, isn't it? Right, that's that. And then I'm going to pop that on there like that. I shall just push that down just for a few seconds, just so it grabs it. That's that. And then the heart, plenty of glue on the bottom of the heart. I think I put pegs on the list. The pegs were to hold the hearts together, in case you were wondering, but I didn't use them earlier. That's it. Right, put that in the water. And then I'm going to pop that on there like that, and I shall just hold that down there just for a few seconds again. Put the lid back on my glue. And if you're doing this at home, best just to let it dry for a few hours, just so it all settles nicely and doesn't move. But that is the extent of the project. So there you go. I'll hold that up a little bit so you can see it. Give it a little bit of a whirly-woo. Yeah, and you know, you've got the link to the kit if you want to buy the kit, but if you don't, just use the techniques, you know, in your crafting, if you like them, of course. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the class. I will prep another one, and I will post up some details as soon as I've got it prepped. So pleased you all stuck with me. Thank you so much. and I hope to see you all again soon. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and yeah, just enjoy the rest of the weekend, and I will see you all again very soon. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye for now.